the mic, talking day and spilling life, from trending memes to wildest dreams. Girl, did you hear that crazy thing? Girl, did you hear what's going down? We're lighting up this whole damn town. Strange and trending every week. Bestie vibes that'll never peak.
And that Tori was basically the one that did the deed.
Yeah.
And Brian was just there witnessing all of this.
Right.
Freaking out on the sidelines.
Right.
You know? So these kids were like documenting what they were doing to Cassie. Like through that night. Like they had...
they were basically videoing themselves making their master plan.
Yes. If you are making a plan to unalive someone and to do something like that to someone and videotape it.
Yeah. That this is you and what you like to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, like, how great it made you feel in a weird way. You should get charged as an adult because that is a very adult thing to do.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Girlogy here.
The ultimate bestie hangout. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kristen. Thank you guys for joining us today. We did take a couple weeks off. We just had some life stuff was lifing.
Life was lifing
Life was
hard.
lifing and we just needed to take a little break. But we are back and we have a crazy story for you guys. We watched The Scream Murder, a true teen horror story on Hulu.
Yes.
And this one was not what I was expecting.
No.
What did you think about it?
How could you be so dumb?
Well, you know, we've watched a lot of documentaries and usually like as you're kind of watching them, you can kind of like figure out like who the suspect is and like how the story's going to play out, right? Well, this one definitely had a turn and I was like, what? They did what?
This was wild. I mean, okay, I get it. But I mean, let's just get into it.
So the story, it takes place in Idaho.
Yes.
Pocatello.
Yeah, you had this earlier.
Pocatello, Idaho.
Pocatello,
Small
Idaho.
town. The victim's name was Cassie Stoddart.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it correct. Stoddart? Cassie Joe.
Yes. High school student. She's like 16, 17 years old. She was found unalived after a weekend of house sitting
For her aunt and uncle.
Yeah. So she was house sitting for aunt and uncle. They come home after that weekend and they find her unalived.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, everyone's like freaking out because she's just a kid. You know, the scene was pretty brutal. She got stabbed like 20 something times.
28, 29 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot of times.
That's a lot of times.
I mean, I don't think you need to do it that many times to unalive someone.
No.
I mean, I don't know.
You don't.
Folks, I don't know. But I'm just guessing.
It was bad.
To be real, I mean, that's a crime of passion right there. I mean, that's too many times.
Too many times. So the police obviously, you know, they are investigating the case. They start, you know, looking at, you know, the boyfriend, friends, what was happening, you know, events leading up to the night, who last saw her, all the things, right?
They do a pretty standard investigation.
Of course. So from what we gather in the story, Cassie's hanging out at this house with her boyfriend, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a couple of friends over also that night, or one of the nights, Tori and Brian. All go to the same school, all friends.
Friends in high school.
Yeah, just hanging out, whatever. The police first interview her boyfriend, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, they did think he was super sus because...
Because everybody suspects the boyfriend first.
Obviously,
right?
yeah. But he also had like zero emotion.
Oh, yeah. He was like...
When they were interviewing him.
This is something that everybody brings up all the time.
Yes.
Like anytime you are being interrogated, I want you to dramatize. I want you to overreact almost to the point to where they think you're doing it too much. Because if you don't show emotion, you immediately become a suspect.
Yes. They immediately are like he's not showing emotion.
Yeah, he was going through like the gruesome details of how...
The
rumors of her being in the methods in which she perished. And the cops were like, oh, why is he smiling? Why is he not like broken up. This was his girlfriend.
Yeah. And they had been together for like 5 or 6 months or something like
just
that.
Yeah,
but
I
like,
mean, it's a high school fling, you know?
but still, like, after the news broke to like their small town and the school found out, the whole school was in shambles over it.
That's true. Yeah.
So like he was one of the only ones that really didn't have much emotion.
Right.
Which is definitely strange.
Because he was like kind of one of the closest ones to her besides her family.
Yeah. And also it was kind of weird. So as they were interviewing Matt starts talking about some knife that he had found in the house and was like showing Brian and Tori, right? And
Yeah, they were
the
using
mom,
it to open popsicles.
yeah, the mom during the interview stopped the interview at that point and was like,
Whoa, whoa,
whoa,
whoa.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
I didn't know nothing about this knife.
Yeah, she was like,
We need to talk to some people.
So she grabbed her kid and left the interview room.
Right.
Which I think is pretty smart, actually, because it seemed sus,
We
but
don't
it was
need
also
to like
smart.
interrogate ourselves. Yeah.
Right.
No, incriminate ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, let me talk to my kid outside of this room
Right.
and figure out what's going on.
Right.
You know?
Let me see if I need a lawyer.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And so they left, and then they did end up coming back for another interview. Without a lawyer.
Polygraph.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he did do the polygraph, which he passed, and they relieved him as a suspect of the case.
Right.
And so then they kind of go and they talk to Brian and Tori.
Right.
And
Because at this point in the investigation, they had no eyewitnesses. They had
Correct.
no murder weapon. They had
Right.
no...
there was no evidence.
They had nothing.
No.
Really to go off of. They
Nothing.
just cleared the boyfriend.
Yes.
I mean, it was kind of a dead end. So they start pulling in the other people that were at the house
Correct.
that night.
Yeah. And Tori and Brian, they had came over to hang out with Matt and Cassie. They said that they were just like chilling, watching movies. And then a little while later, Brian and Tori left to go to another
movies.
movie.
Yeah.
At the theater.
Right.
And Matt and Cassie were left at the house. And supposedly when they left to go to the movie, while Matt and Cassie were at the house, like the lights had turned off. Like they had like a little power outage, and the kids were scared.
Yeah.
And they
Matt
just like,
thought someone was in the house.
yeah. And they didn't go check it out. They just like
Hold themselves
held,
up in the room. Yeah.
and just stayed up there. And then they said eventually the lights came back on. And he even told the police that he was scared and he didn't want to go check it out.
Right. Well, I mean, again, these are teenagers. These are like
Yes.
16, 15-year-old kids.
Yeah. And apparently the house was like in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere.
So there wasn't a lot of things around. So it definitely could have been scary for sure.
Yeah.
And so Matt calls his mom and is telling his mom that they're scared and that this is going on.
Right.
And his mom's like, well, tell Cassie, like, just to come with you and I'll come pick you guys up.
Right.
You know, and Cassie was like, no, I have to stay here. I have to let the dog out, you know? And
Right.
so Matt's mom's like, okay, well, I'll just come get you and Cassie will stay there, whatever. So he does. So he ends up leaving the
Cassie
house.
there
Yeah.
by herself.
And leaves Cassie there by herself. And then the incident happens sometime that night. And then they found her the next day or two.
Yeah.
Which is so sad because I don't know the exact timeline if it was like the next morning or if she was there throughout the weekend. Because how come was Matt not able to get a hold of her the next day?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like there were
Right.
some details that weren't in there. That are things that I thought about.
Right.
Because okay, let's say this happened on a Friday night, right? And then Matt leaves Friday night. She gets unalived that night, and then she's found Sunday morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what? There was definitely a time
But
frame.
it could also be that the incident happened Saturday night. The family came back Sunday.
True. Yeah.
It happened Sunday and they came back Monday, or we don't know the timeline on when.
Yeah, because they found her Sunday 1:15 was when the dispatch phone call came in. So it must have happened that Saturday night,
Possibly.
I
think so. I don't remember the date. I remember the date that was on the camera, and I wrote down the camera and the time.
Yeah,
We'll get into that in a second, but I don't remember the day.
that the actual incident happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back into a calendar from that year and see.
Yeah. That's so crazy though. Because there's definitely a weird, like, I don't know. If I left my girlfriend at a house that she was scared at the night before, I would
up.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like the mom at least could have been like, hey Matt, have you checked on Cassie? Like from since last night? Have you heard anything? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That kind of stuff was left out.
A little fishy.
So we don't know exactly what happened there.
No.
So anyways, the cops start interviewing Brian and Tori, and they're getting their stories. Initially their stories are lining up. They're saying that they were over there, they were hanging out, and then they left to go to the movies. And then that was it. They went back to their houses after the movies, and
and that was that.
That was that. End of story. But what started getting to them was Brian actually started saying different things during the interview. He started, like, he was gonna go in for a polygraph.
He started unraveling.
And then he was like, he didn't end up doing the polygraph. He was like, I want to talk to the cops again.
Right.
And so then he starts saying that they didn't actually go to the movies when they left there, that they were driving around the neighborhood looking for cars.
Popping door handles.
Yeah, to kind of to break into.
Yeah, to see if there's anything in there to steal.
Some, stupid high school kid stuff, right? And so the cops were like, okay, like, why were you doing that? And of course Brian's like, like, we knew that was wrong. That's why I didn't want to say anything, and try to like play it off that way, you know? And so the cops kept kind of pushing him and pressing on him a little bit. And then Brian is like going through a mental moment. Like, he starts getting really emotional, and then he just breaks down, and he starts telling the cops that that it was supposed to be a prank, and that
they were just trying to scare them.
Yeah. And basically that they did turn off the lights to the house, that they were going to try to scare them. They went back to the house, and that Tori was basically the one that did the deed.
Yeah.
And Brian was just there witnessing all of this.
Right.
Freaking out on the sidelines.
Right.
And Tori was like the one doing the thing, and then they just left the scene afterwards, and then boom,
over.
And so while Brian's telling the cops this, his parents are in the room, and they have not heard this either. This is the first time his parents are hearing all of this too. Can you imagine what that would be like as a parent? Like, that's insane. Right. Like, the poor mom was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like, am I hearing this right now? Like,
is this real life?
Is this really happening? And so then the cops are like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, take a step back. Like, this is crazy, because that's a lot to have just heard. And so then Brian also tells them that they buried the evidence, all the stuff that they had, like the weapons that they used, they had masks, clothes, all this stuff that they had, buried it in some canyon. So Brian takes the cops to where the area where they buried it, and they dig everything up. What he didn't tell them was in there was a videotape that they found. And I'm like, no way. What?
Right. A tape.
Like
a videotape.
Yeah. Like I can't even say the words. Yeah.
Because this was back in 2002. So they were still on tape.
Yeah. And that was like when we used to videotape ourselves. Well, we used to do it earlier on.
Before like Instagramming on our phones.
Yes.
All of that started happening.
So when they dug everything up, they found masks, like Halloween masks, bloody clothes, the videotape, and 2 knives.
Yep.
And they took the videotape to the, forensic guy to like clean up, see if they can get off of whatever was on there. And they did. And guys,
there's some shit on there.
The shit that was on this tape is crazy to me. So these kids were like documenting what they were doing to Cassie, like through that night. Like they had
they were basically videoing themselves making their master plan.
Yes. And this was like over the course of, I don't know, a couple weeks maybe leading
Yes,
up to. And as like the show goes on, we learned that Tori was very into horror movies.
Yeah.
And Brian was not into horror movies until he started hanging out with Tori.
Right.
But there's clips of these two boys, on the videotape talking about
Just sitting in front of the camera like we are with you.
Yeah.
Just being like, yeah.
and they have a little tablet.
They're just making up lines and stories about how they're just going to unalive people.
They have a list of other
list of-
victims.
yep.
They
And a whole
have
plan?
Yeah, a plan. They have like what masks they're gonna use. They're talking about it. They even say in there that a great ending to all of this would be a mass school shooting. And I was like, that's fucking wild that these kids are sitting there on videotape in school.
Yeah, mind you.
Talking about this.
Yeah.
And they filmed Cassie earlier that day at school.
They filmed her the day that they
unalived her.
Yes.
Yes. So it had to have been a weekday.
That's so wild.
Yes. And so then like after the incident happened, like everything was filmed, leading up to the incident, but the incident itself was not filmed, obviously.
Right.
Well, that we know of anyways.
Well, because
And
the
then-
video goes like they're talking about how they're going to do it. They're talking about who they're going to do it to. They're like in the car and they're just going through like their own little monologues and stuff. And then like the video gets all fuzzy. And then they get back in the car and then you can hear them saying, "We did it." I mean, I saw
they
the
were like,
life
"We
leave
did it."
her.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, geez. And then they keep talking more and more and more about what they did in the video. And you're like, why are you doing this on video?
And they're like gloating about it. Like the tone in their voice is like, I can't believe we just did that. It happened so fast. Like, all this like surreal stuff. And then the Tory kids like, shut the fuck up. We got to get our shit together. We got to go buy our movie tickets, and get our alibis. And like, he was like the brain. Like,
yeah, we got to get our story
and
straight.
he was like very well composed in the videotape. And
he was
Brian,
showing no emotion.
Brian was like so
Amped
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tori was like, nah, man, we got to keep our shit together. Like he was very like straight and narrow,
Dude. Yeah.
Which is fucking wild,
Yeah, because
dude.
they talked about how they wanted to be killers because they're repressed. And so that's happening at 9:53 on 9/22. And then at 11:32, the video starts back up again about how they took Cassie.
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane. Why did you, I wrote this down so many times. Why did they videotape this?
I know. It's so crazy. And so some speculation came about as to why they did do that was because they were saying that they were writing a screenplay and this was just supposed to be a prank.
Oh yeah, these
and
were characters.
It was like their horror movie and this and that, and like crazy.
But they like fell through with it,
Yeah. Like this is not a movie, guys.
No.
So after the cops watch this tape, they're like, what the fuck? They obviously arrest Brian
right away.
right away. And Tori is not aware that this has happened yet.
No. Tori doesn't know that the cops have seen this tape.
No. And does not know that Brian has said all of these things at all.
Well, because like Tori got brought in for an initial interview that his parents didn't attend because his parents were like, yeah, he's just going to talk to the cops and exonerate himself. He'll be fine. And so Tori talks to the cops and then agrees to a polygraph. And before he can get the polygraph done, Brian runs up and goes, hey, I want to talk to the cops. And that's where Brian gives up where the evidence is, so on and so forth. The cops find the tapes. So, I mean, because Tori's still out in the wild.
Yeah.
While Brian's in there spilling the beans.
Yes.
And then they go and get Tori. And then his story just lines up. Pop, 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 pop. exactly with what Brian said initially.
Yes.
You know, their corroborated story
Yes.
as to the movie they watched and all these other things. And the one part that I thought not really funny, but like that struck me about the cops are like, they couldn't tell us what movie they saw. They couldn't tell us anything about the movie. They couldn't tell us anything about the actors that were in there.
Right.
They couldn't tell us anything about the cars that they were stealing from.
Right.
They couldn't tell us anything about the items that they were like
Supposedly,
stealing.
yeah.
Like they couldn't tell us anything about these things that they were supposedly doing. Because
Right.
obviously we know now that they weren't.
Doing those things.
Right. But the part that kills me is, I mean, I feel like they were kind of like idolizing, because they even mentioned this, because they were wanting to do a mass unaliving of sorts.
Yeah.
I mean, they thought that the Columbine kids were cool.
Yeah.
And it was like they were trying to be on that level of
Yeah.
like fame. And I never understood how people, like, I can't remember who was it. It was like Brian or Tori said that thought they were going to get a girlfriend because they were so cool.
Yeah.
Because they did this thing.
Yeah. Because later on, like Brian's talks about, you know, like his insecurities and stuff like that. Because, okay, later on you find out that Tori's gay.
Yeah.
And that he, like, growing, like, during high school and stuff, like, I don't think any of his friends knew.
Mm-mm.
He was not openly gay. But his mom knew, or found out later on, like after
all of this
happened.
which is hilarious because she's like, really, after all of this,
You're gonna tell
that's
me
the least of our worries.
Yeah. Literally.
I don't care how you love,
And
you killed a lady.
Yeah, and then Brian, you know, had talked about like his insecurities as a teenager and this and that, and you know, both boys, whatever, were broken at the time of the event.
But they're still trying to figure out like who's the boss, who's the ringleader of this situation, because it's flip-flopping between the two. Because after they start interviewing Tori, they of course start pulling the thread on his story and telling him, hey, we got you. Brian flipped.
Yeah.
So both boys become incarcerated.
Yes. And then they're both arrested, obviously, on murder.
Yeah. Jeez.
Classmates at school are obviously freaking out and shocked because small town, news travels fast. Some people like at the school had said that like Tori and Brian were pretty weird, you know, and kind of had stayed to themselves. And both Tori and Brian had like close friends, but like not mutual friends.
Right.
Like they had separate friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Tori and Brian, like they didn't like each other at first when they started hanging out. And then they ended up hanging out and becoming closer. Tori's mom, you know, would say things about Brian, and then Brian's parents would say things about Tori.
Yeah.
And it was like the constant like back and forth of like, you know, Tori's parents are accusing Brian of being the instigator and vice versa.
Right.
And I personally think that Tori was like the main one, and that he somewhat persuaded Brian.
Yeah.
And kind of manipulated him. And Tori kind of preyed on Brian's vulnerabilities to kind of lure him into his horror story
Right.
mentality. You know what I mean?
His horror movie mentality.
Yeah. And which is so crazy. Like I can't even imagine being in high school and hearing something like that, and knowing that like one of your classmates just brutally stabbed another classmate,
Or
like,
to think to be one of the girls on their list.
on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, to be a classmate on the list of other people they were going to.
They had a straight kill list.
I mean, that's insane. Like, why would you write that down?
Yeah. And they kept saying that they were just trying to recreate different horror movies and, you know, all these like little screenplays and stuff like that.
I mean, I think it was Brian who wrote the memoir, or not the memoir, but wrote the essay that was also super off-putting and upsetting.
Yes.
I mean, and I get it. I was a kid once and I had like a little dark time and I freaked out my parents a little, but like, it never got this deep.
Right? Like it stopped there.
Yeah, it just stopped at like weird poetry I copied off the internet.
Right?
It was never anything more than that.
Yeah, because they did find a bunch of essays, they classified them as, on Brian's computer, and a lot of them were really dark.
Yeah.
Stories about death and stuff like that. Which is, I mean, whatever. It was an outlet, I guess, for him to kind of work through his feelings, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
Which I guess isn't horrible, but the fact that like there was actions that followed suit kind of makes things a little bit worse.
I mean,
for Brian.
Right. But like in the eyes of the law, both boys are guilty.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it is, nobody's less or more. Nobody, I mean, because they said they found like 2 different stab like entrances, like there's 2 different knives and so on. So they thought that, you know, obviously there's 2 people doing this. And both boys get, what is it, life without parole.
Yeah. So yeah, they end up going, so they're minors.
They're 16.
Yeah, when this is taking place. And the parents are thinking that they're going to get like, because they are juveniles, that they're going to get like a little bit of
appeals and it's like, or they'll get a little bit of leeway because they are juniors.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the judge was like, nope.
We're going to make an example of these.
Yep.
fools.
And I'm so glad that he did.
Yeah.
And that he stuck to his guns. Because I feel like a lot of times judges feel bad for kids and they do give them like, you know, a little bit of grace.
These are only kids. And one of the arguments in the documentary series was like, of course, their frontal cortex is not fully developed yet. They're still 16-year-olds. Like in the eye of the law, they're barely able to drive. They can't buy cigarettes or vote or do or drink alcohol or any of those other adult things. So like, why are we charging these boys as adults? Well, because the videotape goes to show that all of this is
pre-planned.
Yeah, like they
planned this out. Like this was not just like a random act of rage. You know, like they planned it
times,
and then like that's a lot.
That's passionate.
And like they really wanted to make sure the job was done.
Jeez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, like I don't care if you're 16 or 21. Like if you are making a plan to unalive someone and to do something like that to someone and videotape it and essentially like confess on the tape that you did that
this is you and what you like to do.
And that like how great it made you feel in a weird way, you know what I mean? Like you should get charged as an adult because that is a very adult thing to do. Regardless if your brain is developed or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were all 16 once. We've all had crazy, impulsive,
stupid,
bad decisions that we've made in our teenage years. Yes, teenagers are super impulsive, but like to plan an unaliving of someone to that extent and then to just expect that it'll be fine because we're juveniles. No, I'm sorry.
Right.
That's bullshit.
But okay, so that was back in 2002. It's 2026. These boys are adults now.
Yeah.
And they've been rehabilitated, or have they? Like,
well, that was kind of like what they talked about, like in the documentary. Was like
the final episode was all about
how do you determine if someone
let these guys go
rehabilitated
now
or not?
Yeah,
you know, because they did get yes, they both got found guilty in the first degree. Obviously, Brian's verdict was announced April 17th, 2007. Tori's verdict was announced in June 8th, 2007. They were tried separately, which I agree with. And then August 24th, 2007 was when the sentencing happened and the judge sentenced them life in prison without parole.
Right.
And a lot of people thought that was unconstitutional because of the age thing, you know, but then there was a lot of like, people were like, no, this is okay.
They took a life.
And it was premeditated, like pre-planned.
Like happily.
Yes, very happily.
Oh my gosh.
And during like that last episode of the documentary, they were talking a lot about how do you know if someone is rehabilitated to go back into the
re-enter
world,
society,
you know, and to not have to commit that type of crime again
after they go plan the murder with their best friend. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, you could go through all the psychological evaluations, but like, we've all been to therapy. We all know the right things to say to people to get them to give us the right answers, you know what I mean? Or clearance in that type of setting. You know what I mean? Especially if they've been in prison for all of their life.
Long. Yeah.
You think that they haven't learned a thing or two
about how to manipulate?
about how to be a better criminal while they're in jail around other criminals?
But like, so, okay, but like,
Because people are not just in jail, like really focusing on their rehabilitation.
some of them are.
Some of them are,
You
but
kinda
like,
have to give some of them the benefit of the
yeah,
doubt.
but a very small percentage, I feel like.
Get it? Like a zebra never changes its stripes, but it's still, I don't know.
It's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
It's a hard line to
And
draw.
like the poor dad of Brian.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for him because like they asked him in the show, like, do you think that your son should be let out?
He's like,
And
no.
he's like, phew, that's hard. That is a hard question.
Yeah.
Like I tried to ask myself, like, if one of my kids did that, how I would feel. And I would probably feel the same way. Like, as much as it hurts as a parent to know that like your kid is spending their life in jail,
Right.
at the same time, like,
He's a danger to society.
yeah, and your kid took somebody else's innocent life and like
Wrote it down in a
and that
journal somewhere, videotaped himself writing it down in a journal. So he has enough forethought, enough planning, enough wherewithal.
yes.
To like, I mean, that's the part I keep getting hung up on is like, this wasn't just random impulsive decision. No, this was premeditated.
Yeah. It wasn't like they were partying and she OD'd or
Yeah. They
like,
were partying
they
and
got
things
into a
got out
car
of
accident
hand,
or, you know,
like
like-
someone got angry at somebody else and then
Yeah.
like, or like
No,
somebody
they
was
left-
cheating on someone else.
they
or,
left the house.
They set the stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then came back
To do the
to
thing.
do the thing.
Yeah.
And they even said on the tape, like, it's going to be perfect because she's in a house by
this
herself.
big house
in
by
the middle of
herself.
nowhere.
Yep.
It's the
Yep.
perfect setting.
Yep. It was gross. I was
Like,
guys,
what?
Like,
So, yes, I'm sorry, Brian and Tori, you do need to be in jail for the rest of your life
right.
without parole. Because,
That's just dumb.
like, it was interesting because, like, Trevor was talking about this on one of his podcasts recently. Oh, not this, but, like, in general, he thinks that there should be, like, a specific line, hypothetical line of, like, these types of crimes, definitely jail time. Like, assaults, things with weapons, unalivings, you know, like
Right.
DV situations, stuff like that. People that are constantly stealing, maybe not having to be in jail all that much.
Right. Like white collar crimes, what do they call that? Like embezzlement.
Yeah. You know,
Check forges, stuff like that.
because like obviously
I still think they
we
need to be
know-
punished. Maybe you just put them
Yeah.
in like a different.
Like he was saying
box.
like a community service. Like those people need to do actual community service.
Right.
Not like, here, can you sign my paper?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like actually do shit. But like that made me think too, because like we all know jails are overpopulated.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones paying for all the inmates in the jails.
Mm-hmm.
So there should be a line of like, you know, these crimes definitely jail time.
Well, I mean,
These crimes
they-
probably not as much jail time.
They did that. And they're like, okay, so all these kids that are incarcerated for life, let's give them a second chance and see if they are viable to be paroled out. I think they rescinded some sort of law or opened up a new law to look at a bunch of cases, and a bunch of people got let out
Some, yeah.
because they got, they were terrible teens and then rehabilitated adults, but these two didn't. And
Right.
I mean, and I know that they, you know, when they decriminalized marijuana, they did the same thing to a lot of the people that were in there. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
hey, if you're in here for this offense, it's time for you to make room for other people.
Right.
So there is kind of a line.
A little bit.
I mean, but it's not as like dry
Right.
as we want it to be.
Yeah. I mean, it would be hard to like really define that. You know what I mean? Because someone would always have something to say.
Yeah.
You know? But
I mean, and everybody lies.
well, yeah. But like in this situation, like if people are unaliving people, they should not have the chance to get out of jail. Period. In my opinion.
But what if it's an accidental unaliving?
I mean, depends.
See?
Accidental how?
Not so easy.
Who classifies it as accidental? Car accident?
Yeah,
Accidental?
like I crashed into your car on accident and you didn't end up making it. Why do I have to go to prison for the rest of my life because of an accident?
Well, I don't think accidental
But
would
I still
be,
unalived you in this scenario with my car.
But you didn't like, you didn't
Yeah,
like,
but I'm saying I still killed you.
but you didn't like preemptively be like, have a plan
Yeah, I wasn't like
To, like,
following you to try. Yeah.
to crash into me. You know what I mean? But like, I think in certain situations, there are definite cases where people should be in jail without parole.
Yeah.
We've definitely watched some cases that people have gotten let out of jail
Yeah.
from, and I'm like, what?
Wait.
This person's out in the world still?
What do you mean?
Go get him.
Put it back.
And I mean, it's hard because I'm sure it depends on like state per state too. You know?
Every state's different.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Every country's different.
Yeah.
Even still, That's hard. It's really hard.
It's so hard.
Because it's like, okay, well, these two did this, but like this guy did that. Is that the same or is that different?
Right. And like, so as the guys are talking, and sharing thoughts and feelings as they're older,
Right.
You know,
because they're in their 30s now.
yeah, and they've had time to reflect and think about their actions, But at the same time, like, I didn't really think that any of their comments were very like genuine. I think that they were very basic, like, realizations that they had because they had all this time to sit in jail and think about what they've done.
Yeah, right.
So of course, now that they're in their 30s with adult brain,
Right.
they're like, oh yeah, that was really fucking dumb of
That
me.
was a bad idea. Especially to do it all on camera.
Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that they still did it.
No.
And at that time, they knew what the fuck they were doing.
Right.
It's not like they had a psychotic break and didn't know what they were doing.
Or
You know
it
what
was
I mean?
an accident.
Or it was an
like
accident.
They were all partying. Or
it was
they
a
were under
rage.
the influence.
Yeah, it was nothing
or
like that at all. Completely not like
They
that.
were like, we're going to pick her because of this, and then do it then. And then they set up the whole thing.
Yeah, seamlessly. And if Brian didn't fucking spill the beans, who knows if they would have ever found out who the actual killers were.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
That was like
the
my
way they haphazardly just kind of tossed all of those things. Like they didn't bury it very well.
No, they
I'm
didn't.
sure.
I mean, they were kids. Yeah. They didn't know how to get rid of evidence. No. I mean, they tried.
Well, they thought they knew. They watched enough movies.
Yeah. Horror movies. I think they're watching the wrong type of movie.
Yeah.
But like that's where they got their inspiration from was that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That video was so damning.
Yes, but that's also kind of why I feel like Brian was more of like, in a sense, a victim as well. Like coerced into the situation because he was the one that's ended up spilling the beans. He was the one that couldn't hold it in that they had done this. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't just continually lie about it. Like he was like, I can't keep it in.
Or it's that, or he cracked.
Yeah.
Right? The cops just got him.
But it makes me wonder if Brian wasn't the one initially, if they would have kept pressing the boys, if they would have found out.
Right.
If it was them, or if Tori would have cracked.
Who? I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Doesn't matter. They're still up in the pen.
Yep. I don't think they're getting out.
No. I don't think so either.
They're just there.
They're just there. And there they shall be.
In Idaho.
In Idaho. And all of Idaho's tax people's payers' money just pays for those two to just sit up there.
Yep. Just crazy.
It's fine.
I guess. I don't know. I'm fine with it though.
Yeah, we don't need them back out here.
No.
No.
Are you kidding me? If there was someone at Jaden's school that did some crazy ass shit like this, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna let him out, I'd be like, the fuck you are? What?
Right? You're like, no, we're not.
Jaden, you are not going back to school.
Yeah, right.
But that's crazy. And then the poor other girls in the documentary that found out that they were on the list, that were like friends of these kids.
Yep.
Dude.
We're like, some instances were like, yeah, no, I was home and then those two boys stopped by and she's like, were they going to kill me that night? Who knows?
And they were poking around her house with the flashlights and stuff.
They were stalking her.
Yeah.
That's so bad. It's gross.
Yeah. And the fact that like that was going on, like there's just too many things that's like, okay, guys.
Right. Can you grow out of that behavior?
No.
Okay. I agree.
I don't think so. I feel like sometimes that type of shit is like in you.
Well, okay, being a creepy little perv at 16 years old and like stalking girls and stuff, yes, that behavior I think you can grow out of. The fact that you bloomed it into a full-on murderer, that is a little hard to unwind from, I think. I mean, because I think we all do learn boundaries as a teenager. I mean, because I was a creepy, gross teenager. I mean, I
went through like weird emo stages, and we all knew like the couple like weird goth kids that like you're like, you know, they're like wearing like, trench coats and shit, you know, and you're like, okay, is that gonna be the next school shooter? You know what I mean? Like we also had to worry about that type of stuff in high school.
Well, yeah, because Columbine happened while we were in school.
Yeah. And so, yes, like, of course, we were also like, watch out for the emo kids. Those are weird. You know what I mean? But like, no. I never felt the short time that I was in high school that that any of the kids among my class were planning my murder.
I don't think so either. I mean, I grew up in a town that had like 4 high schools kind of in the surrounding area. And I mean, it's a pretty small town, but still, I didn't ever catch the vibes. And I mean, and I hung out with some of the goth kids. Yeah. So it was like, it was never. It was there like that. It was not like that. Mm-mm. But I mean, again, I was kind of a little weirdo when I was a kid. You know, I don't want to divulge too much information here because I'm still kind of a weirdo, but
we're all a little strange.
You grow out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
or you just mature it into something that people can tolerate.
I mean, as long as you're not planning people's unalivings.
I was just like really
people
into
can tolerate
dark
weirdness.
Poetry, and this is back in the time when like Ron.com was really like, and like horror movies were really starting to get graphic, and like the whole world was really kind of just I don't know, really vulgar. Yeah. Right around that time.
In the early
I'm not
2000s?
saying that it's not now, or if it's any better now. Maybe I'm just more desensitized to it, but it was pretty grandiose, I think, right around the early 2000s. Who knows?
Oh, no, totally. No, because you're right. Because everything, like there's a big like tech boom, essentially. Like you said, like movies were getting better. Tons of horror movies were coming out. The Scream movie,
the graphics
was
were
coming out
better.
at that
Like,
time. You know,
people were just craving more gore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me all the horror shit. Yeah. And that's great. Like I love horror movies. All about it. I love horror movies. I love jump scare movies, graphic.
I can do without those.
All of the horrors.
Yeah.
I could get down with it.
Right.
But I'm not, doesn't mean I'm gonna
doesn't
go
mean
out
you're
there.
one of those creepy weirdos that's got a list of people you need to knock off. Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
Oh, guys.
So if you're still here with us
Thank you
after
for hanging on.
this rambling, please let us know what you think of this crazy story. Would love to hear your opinion. Drop a comment below, hit like and subscribe. We are here every Thursday. Come hang out.
Come hang out.
We'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
From truth or lies, we'll call it out. They whisper gossip, but we shout. Pop culture. culture queens and headphones clear. Girl, did you hear what's up?